Hi, I'm Anthony Marinelli with my very close friend and family, Rob Rosen, and we're here to bring you something very special. It's a monster modular rig that travels around the world, and it's
the Chrome Tonto.
It's the chromed Tonto, Chromeo. And we're here with P-Thugg, and today we're gonna give you the build. We're gonna show you how it goes up. We're gonna hear from P what it feels like to play something like this and really show you what's involved to do something this crazy, because this is the most dedicated synth effort that I've seen maybe ever.
Definitely. And we'll also learn how to wipe down Chrome synthesizers.
That's a big part of it, isn't it?
Yes.
So let's get into it. Let's watch this build and let's meet P.
Hi, this is P from Chromeo. I'm here with Anthony and Rob, my good friends today, and I'm gonna put them to work to show you how we build this monster chromed modular Tonto situation that we've got going on.
Hey, P.
Hey,
We're just sitting here.
about time.
We're just sitting here.
Come in and help.
We were watching you guys put these, what did you just put up here?
So these are the bases and the first levels of each module where we put the controllers. So we've got MIDI controllers. Well, they're Nord modulars that have been chromed out.
PTSD.
And they act as controllers. So there's two over here, one Nord electro, one Nord modular. There's one Arturia Leolabs 61, I guess, that also has been chromed over here as a controller. There's a Nord modular G2 over here, Nord modular G2X, and a Nord electro over here.
And they're going to control the modular?
They control the MIDI of the modulars. Once we set them up, I'll show you, because you know there's a MIDI to CV converter, and we'll go through that setup.
And
Great.
for most artists, this would be enough. You know, maybe put a couple laptops on top.
For most
Right.
artists, this would be enough.
That would be enough. But then,
Yes.
because when I was watching this happen, I'm like, oh, this isn't so bad. And I'm like, oh, wait, there's still a lot more.
There's
So
still
what Rob's saying,
three
it's like
times this.
Chrome tables for MIDI keyboards.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
And the correct me if I'm wrong, but the audience may not be able to see this part.
exactly.
Yeah, that's insane.
So in the Chromeo world, it's never enough. So we decided to go full analog with synth.com modules that they provided for us and chromed for us, which was amazing. And we'll show you how we put the second and third tiers on. And I'll show you how we plug them, we control them. I'll show you my little preset system that I've built with switches. We'll go through all of this, but let's finish building.
Well, we're
Here we
here
go.
to help. Let's
do it.
Let's do it.
Let's keep building.
Hope you ate your Wheaties.
You know, and it's like, it requires grunting. I mean, it's like
Oh yeah, definitely.
4 humans
Yeah.
grunting
Yeah.
to put this synthesizer together.
Yeah.
I love it. This is the front half. We have the other half. No, I'm just kidding. And we have the other half in the back. No, I'm just kidding.
The other half.
Okay, so I'll show you how it's plugged also.
My
So
goodness.
basically, these covers come off. And what we've got inside, and that's the beauty of
Thanks, Ben.
synth.com systems, is that it's really made to expand as much as you want.
Oh, so we drop them down.
Drop these
May I?
down.
To
Yeah.
do the honors here, down the little hole here.
So we've got our power
Nice.
from the top to the bottom.
That's just like their normal wood cabinet systems.
Exactly.
Except they have it on, bust out on cables. That's awesome.
Exactly. So I just drop from the top to the bottom. So these are connected. This is sending power to this, and this is receiving power from the power supply inside. It's huge and ridiculous and heavy.
Oh yeah, that's a big guy.
It's the big one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the model is, PS6 or I don't know.
So you have to hand it to synthesizers.com to have this
Oh, yeah,
kind of
definitely.
reliability,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Definitely.
They're building a quality modular.
And I trusted them from the beginning because we've been touring with a 22 cabinet for a long time. It wasn't chrome, there wasn't anything. It was just a, out of the box 22 system. And I've had no issues in like 10 years. So I went into this knowing very well I could rely on those guys and on the system, the stability of the oscillators, the stability of everything.
And if I have this right, Rob, they're modeled after the traditional Moog, which is 22 modules in terms of its
Yeah, so I
horizontal
think the
size.
beginnings of the company was more like to go alongside a real Moog, but the circuits are not based on Moog. They are completely different. I mean, they do have obviously like the transistor ladder filter and things that are based on some Moog modules, but generally it's its own thing in a Moog-sized format.
Right, because it's 22.
In
it
the
fits.
spirit of Moog.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
spirit.
Roger's a brilliant guy. He designed all this stuff.
Roger?
Yeah, Roger from synth.com.
Do you know his last name?
I don't.
I knew it at some point.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Roger something Ick?
Well, it sounds like he's lovingly known as Roger. So we'll get all his info.
Yeah.
You'll see it in the description, because this is worthy of
Is it Roger Arrick?
Yes, Roger Arrick. Yes.
worthy of mention. I mean, something that you can like rely on this level and tour with, and just
Oh, it's crazy, and I've tested this for, like I said, for 10 years with a Box 22 system, and I went in confident that this crazy plan was gonna work.
So once that worked, you didn't build one of these. You just said, let's go for 4.
Exactly,
and it's going to work.
And they're serviceable as well. A lot of the .com stuff is through hole, circuit boards with headers that you can disconnect and fix easily.
Which is another good point, because
super.
a lot of people don't understand that some of the newer synthesizers, right? I mean, you should speak to this. They're not really, when you say serviceable, it means that you can repair them.
Yeah, and no matter new or old, something's going to go wrong eventually.
Yeah.
And with .com stuff or any boutique maker like this, really, that's making it with through-hole technology and is alive and serviceable. You can actually get parts for this stuff, replace circuit boards, replace jacks.
I bring one of each module with me on the backup. You can check this out. There's a nice little drawer here with one extra of each module. And if something goes wrong, it literally takes 5 minutes to switch them up, which I haven't had to do yet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You did notice it was a chrome drawer.
Okay, so these guys are all plugged. This trickles down to this. This is plugged to the power supply. It's all going into a power strip internally. And then all I have to do is plug one power strip in the back.
One power strip, and then this whole monster is lit.
Exactly.
And Pete, they chromed it for you. Is that correct? They did
They
it?
chromed it, yeah. They took apart all of these modules, chromed all the plates and the cabinets.
So maybe I could call them up and ask for a Chromeo edition.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, they'll be happy. The boss of the president of the company had himself a 22 module chromed out after seeing this.
Oh, he did one?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it'd be good to hear a little bit about what's going on just with these, like some things that look different to me, like the tuners.
Yeah, so we had, because this is a lot of oscillators, and we're live, and whether, the systems are really stable, but there will be variations on tuning, whether you're inside, outside, how hot, how humid the room is, and especially the tracking sometimes can be off. So we've got tuners on each oscillator. So this would be a tuner for oscillator 1, this would be tuner for oscillator 2. This is an extra one in case I want to add oscillator 3 one day. Same here, oscillator 1, oscillator 2. All of these units and modules have an oscillator assigned to a tuner. So I always know where I'm sitting at. When we get the keyboards in, I'll show you, but I can literally tune as I play. And if I want to go, if I want to go a fifth up or something, I can know visually before I even touch where I'm sitting on the note. So I can have the second oscillator on an F and the first one on a C. I can go back to the C. This visual aid is really life-changing.
That's amazing. And it reminds me of like 100 years ago, you showed me how you would take those clip-on guitar tuners.
Yes.
And then you'd like hot glue a quarter-inch jack onto them.
Yeah.
And I still use the one that I ripped off from you. That's such a genius thing, and I wish all modulars had that.
Yeah. The trick is you get a cheap $20 snap-on guitar tuner, you take the piezo off, you tap in with a quarter-inch, and you put it on any output of anything you want. You could put it here on the sine, triangle, saw, wherever you want.
Even you just have a constant signal.
I on my MS-20 Live, I just put it on the headphone out. Mm-hmm. I have my output for the room, for the show, and then I have this little concoction on the headphone out, and I can tune it as I play the whole time. It's crucial. You never want to hit a wrong note because your synth is off.
Exactly.
Starting the show with the intro, and then you're off something.
I like to see that rig when you just throw it onto the MS-20 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that each system is one voice.
Yes, absolutely. All of these 6 pieces are the same exact build, except for a couple of differences.
Okay.
Because of logistical reasons, I needed to make this plug and play as much as possible. So I'm saving one output if I send the out of this into a mixer here, which is basically mixing those two, and then I have only one output to deal with instead of bringing 2 quarter-inch cables, 2 DIs. Mm-hmm. I just made it a little more plug and play. So this output goes into here, those two get mixed together, and then out. I'll show you later.
So one output from this unit.
It goes even deeper. One output goes to the Nord modular in, and then I have one output for 3 synths.
Jeez. Yeah. So you're running the synths that control this, the audio outs from those through this as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Oh, so you have poly from those synths.
Yeah. So if I need to play chords, I'll be on the electro. The Wurlitzer sounds, all the electromechanical pianos will be on the electro. All the poly synth sounds will be on the Nord modular, and all the mono sounds and the more robust modular stuff will be on those guys.
Wow.
I'll show you everything once we mount these. We mount these so we can hold both synths on each. We're going to mount these, put the keyboards in, and I'll show you how the system works. Because there's also MIDI going from those two to those two.
And I'm scared to ask, but are the patch cables chrome too?
Everything is hardwired.
I figured that much.
Yeah. Everything is hardwired. You can imagine this would be impossible to deal with.
Now, is that something that .com builds into their modules, the ability to be patched from the back?
I'm not sure if they offer that service or not. I asked them to do it because it was going to be impossible to manage. Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. I mean, seeing as you don't have anything patched from this to any of the oscillators, that there must be some back patching going on.
Yeah, and that's very important to explain. Like, when you see this and you're a modular head, you're like, hey, wait a minute, this isn't patch, these are just props. No, they're not. These are, in order to use these, the only way to make it work logistically was to hardwire them. Keep in mind, this takes 2-3 hours to set up every day. We wouldn't be able to give a show with these if I had to repatch.
Yeah.
And once this is patched with cables, it's so heavy that it's also impossible to store and travel.
Jeez.
We have to think about that too, right?
Makes sense.
And for those purists, like modular Moogs have normals too. Not
That's right.
everything, not everything requires a patch cord, so it isn't really that pure.
Yeah, exactly. The design was tested. I hardwired everything. I came up with the structure. So the work has been put in. We just had to make it more efficient.
Nice.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
And the dream happened, right? Like the way
Yep.
you imagined it? Did it
exactly, yeah.
100%?
100%.
That's something great.
So one thing I was mentioning to P off camera is, like 100 years ago when we started working together, he had this huge room in the back of the studio where he had this massive .com thing, and he would bring me in there and be like, I'm trying to build this insane polyphonic modular. And I was like, so is this kind of like the culmination of that, like the seeing the light of day version? And I guess the answer was yes.
Yeah, that's the prequel to the monster poly system that I want to build at some point. Because all of these are the same structure, what I'd like to do one day is have a poly MIDI to CV converter, put it in the middle, send CV to everything. And I guess also, if you want to change, you could also mult all of the envelope generators and the filters, so you can only have one filter knob, one envelope, one attack knob, one sustain knob to control all of them at the same time.
Wow. That's bananas.
But I can imagine being in the middle and having all of these 6 oscillators poly.
I think once you do that, the aliens are going to finally be like, we're here.
Yeah. Just scoop them up.
I'm trying to call them
home.
I'm trying to call them home, That's my actual end goal. So yeah, let's build the rest, and I'll show you how the sound goes in and out, and how all the MIDI is plugged.
Nice.
Here it is. It's set up.
In all
P,
its splendor.
in such a huge amount of splendor. And really, Rob and I really have to thank you for doing this, right?
Thank you guys. I really want to show this to the world. These are not stage props. This is the result of work, modular engineering. A lot of time was put into this, and we're getting on stage and we're actually playing those. These are not fake cabinets. These are not props.
Takes a mad genius, though. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And that's you.
No doubt about it. And we're
thank
3
you.
hours in, I mean, to get this to happen.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
exactly.
this is like every time they play it.
Yeah. Break down, build it back every single day.
And you're saying sometimes the changeover's 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we get these things ready on risers, and we got to go in and out and hope that we're on time enough to plug those in and have at least 5 minutes for the oscillators to warm up.
Oof.
You know?
That's stressful.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to show you the full scope of this connectivity because it starts with the songs and then it goes through a lot of paths, and this is not even the end result because what goes to the audience is even more, and we're going to show you how this is all interconnected.
Yeah.
It's super amazing.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Only you know where to start.
This guy controls the top module. This guy controls the bottom module. They're linked in here to send the output into the input. Output of both of those into the input here, and then it comes out of the back of the Nord Modular G2X. So I can control MIDI. The top one can be controlled MIDI. And then the cool thing about this is that I built a sort of a preset system where I have 3 switches, one next to the other, controlled by a switch knob. So basically, this is all of these 3 off. When I select the first one here, it goes to this preset. When I select this one here, it goes to this preset. So on and so forth.
So these are not digitally saving the sound, just
No,
so we get this straight here,
no,
right?
No. These are rerouting those 2 envelopes. So these 2 envelopes go on the filter. These 2 envelopes are for the amp. So every time I choose one of the presets, it chooses a different envelope to give me a combination that I want.
As if someone in the back just changed all the patchwork.
Exactly. So
That's genius.
so if I went like this, I'm now playing on these 2. This is my filter and this is my amp. If I go to this one, I'm now using this and this. This and this. These 2 are playing together. Now you heard this jump from an octave to another. I also have the octave switch and the semitone transpose
Master.
if I wanted to.
That's a master then.
Yeah.
And those are routed into the switches
Assigned
as well. Okay.
to the switch one. So I'm here. This will not only switch the envelopes, but it will also switch the octave. I could also keep it down at 0 and do a semitone. This decides what happens when you turn this. This can also go an octave below. So you see now, I went from these 2, to these 2, and now to these 2. And now if I do this, I'm on these 2. And you can hear the release from this envelope amp generator kicking in.
So if you change the setting here in real time, and then you go over to here, and then when you come back to this one, then it's the setting that's on the
Exactly,
panel.
exactly.
So it's truly just an analog like patch.
It's an
bay.
analog patch bay, and it gives me the opportunity to have 3 presets per module, which is extremely helpful when you're doing live shows. I have no time to tune oscillators and change patching and do all of this. Impossible. I really wanted to be able to use these live and not be a complete mess every time I want to change a sound. So I made this efficient and I came up with this system. And this is on every single
It's great.
module.
It's the same as pipe organs in the 17th century. Basically, you would have presets, and you just push a little button, and it would be analog, like changing the order of the pipes that you're hearing and the mix of the pipes.
Yeah.
So it's essentially what you're doing.
Exactly. So this, to me, this is the belly of the beast. This is where all the magic happens, to make like fast, easy transitions, play during a show. Even within the same song, I can...
Wow.
If I know exactly what part I'm playing on what octave, I can do anything I want. You know what I mean? I'll be playing a part, and all of a sudden I have a release and an octave switch, even semitone if I want.
Well done. And
If I bypass this doesn't work at all.
Did the synthesizers.com company do this for you?
I came up with the structure, of course. It took me quite a bit to figure out, because we start with the finished songs that are on the record, right? And then we retroactively figure out if we're going to either add something to the live show or replace something to the live show. So once we figure out, okay, I'm going to add a bass line on that part, I need to figure out what the sound is before I even build this. I have to know what the show is going to sound like, because I need to know what patch I'm going to play on what part of what song. When am I going to switch it? Do I want to be on this module or on this module to do it? Right? So everything has to be pre-planned. And once we figure out the logistics of patch changes, then I can dial those in.
But you can make your own now, right?
Yeah.
You can make your own sounds and save them.
Yeah. So basically, I came up with a structure. I'll send you the original patch sheet that I made for them.
Oh yeah,
That's insane.
We'll put it in the video.
For them to even know where to, to hardwire stuff. There's like a big.
And do you know if they did it like with the normaling jacks, or if it's all on like the circuit board level?
They did on the normaling jacks, so if
So
I
you can bypass them. Very smart.
Yeah, so I can bypass all this and change
Oh.
patching if I want.
So that just means if he has a patch, a bass sound or whatever, and he wants to sort of change something, he puts a cable in, and now
Exactly.
you're back on panel.
If one day I want to be like, man, I want this preset, but I want to be able to octave pitch it, I just connect my line from outside.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, I prepare everything in advance, of course. For the preset system to work, everything has to be pre-programmed. The knobs have to be in the right spot. So we always start the song on this synth, start the show on this synth. So I play the intro song, which has a sort of Tom Sawyer-ish long drone bass with heavy resonance. And then I can switch with just this. This is my preset system. This is a flourish on Over Your Shoulder, our song. So all I have to do to switch from this.
It's instant.
Instantly, yeah. If you go too fast,
It's changing.
it's changing it, and the release is still reading that you played that note, right? So
Well, yeah, you just sent it a gate.
exactly.
When you have a long R time, it's just going to happen.
So it takes at least a bar or two for it to clean up, but give it a little time. Switch. All of a sudden, I'm 2 octaves up with a release. And the same goes for all the other guys. So, this is another song called Juice. I also have, this is the synth solo on Fancy Footwork. This is the opening sound on Juice. Somebody played with this. this one, all I have going on this one is I'm going from no release to release. I didn't, I could do that, but but this one, I only need that sound with a release and without a release.
So that's like your open saw modular.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, tight.
Yeah. It's like the basic solo sound. There's only 3 presets per module, so that's 3, 6, 9, 18, which is not bad, but we're playing 17 songs, and sometimes I'm changing sounds during the song, so I have to keep it. Keep the workflow clean and effective.
Well, it's about the music
efficient.
too. I mean, a guitar sounds the same on every song.
Exactly.
There's subtle differences because of the way you play it and where the song goes, the music.
Yeah.
But are you actually twisting any of these knobs like during the set, or is it all pretty preset and
definitely.
forget?
Definitely, like on the intro, I will. I want to make sure that
It's going to be there when you...
it's back where it should be for the next sound.
Right.
See, now we're off. No problem.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. And some sounds are just a variation with a filter off on something else, right? So it depends really on sometimes I want to improvise and add a little part, but I want a different sound. I'll just filter it.
Right.
And I'll fiddle with it, slightly.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite sound during the set? What's the one you're most excited to pull up?
The intro. That's
You just like getting started.
Yeah, just getting started. And that thing in a system with subs, I mean...
Not my quinceanera system here.
Starting the show with this, see now we're off key because we're switching octaves quickly. No problem.
Right back.
Yeah, right back. This, when you hear this in a room with a real subsystem and a line array, it's just...
Massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way to start a show. Period.
Amazing.
Yeah, when you change sounds, just so everyone knows, it's still the same filter.
Yeah.
So what you're basically a lot of times doing is changing to like a different envelope.
Exactly.
If you had another filter, you could change to another filter.
Exactly.
But those are always live, whatever settings they're on. That's
Yeah, exactly.
Because ultimately, all the programmer can do is add or subtract an offset.
Yeah.
So where that knob is will still determine a lot.
Yeah.
then you switch between modules, right? That's the other thing the programmer's doing.
Yeah. What this guy is doing is switching between this, and this constantly, and then switching between bypassing this or not bypassing this.
Now you could switch between your waveforms too.
I could do that too.
If you wanted to, right? You go in and program that.
I would have to add a couple of switch modules. Right now, I've been limited by the space that I have.
Okay.
But definitely, if you make this a 44 module, you can add switches and just keep going. And,
I see.
you can have a switch going from sine to saw, and you can literally recreate a Minimoog with this.
Right. You just have a switch that does it.
Yeah, exactly. The goal of all this is not experimenting, is to use modular in a live setting and give you the album as close as possible with fun additions. If we want to experiment, of course, you can see that this can be expanded to 120 modules and have the signal selector do different stuff with switches and use all of the capabilities of this. But that's not the brief here. Yeah, that's the only way I can make sense of bringing it on the road and make it having the least headaches possible. Is to use these,
Instead of having a crazy show of patch cords, you just had this beautiful chrome panels.
Exactly.
It looks sick. It really does.
Exactly.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it brings the audience into it.
Yeah.
Literally.
And that's, I guess, why you have 4 of them, because you just have more sound capability. Because if you had just a digital thing, you can completely change the face panel. On this, when you're switching, you're not really changing the face panel. Like it's not an entirely new sound. You can't go from bells to basses to you know, flutes or whatever.
Exactly.
It's always going to be whatever the front panel is.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to go crazy adjusting them, you couldn't get back to what your original sound was unless you just sat there and did it.
Unless, I could go crazy on one envelope generator, you know, and always go back to the same.
You just know where you are.
I could also go back to my bass, knowing that these two won't move, but these two will be my experimentation. Always come back to my bass sound. No matter what I do here, you know, if I mess up and I make something unlistenable, just always go back to this because these are untouched by the first and the second position.
And as synthesis, it can't be understated how easy it is to make something unlistenable.
Exactly, right?
All you got to go for is this knob in the wrong moment.
Exactly. So that's I always try to keep those two clean, you know, with just basic sounds. So I know I can experiment a little bit during the show and have a backup. Just that's why this preset system is there also.
Wow. I was just thinking about how if you really wanted to fake it, you could just have a digital keyboard in these trunks.
I could absolutely
and just have the output there and have this all for show. But it's all functional.
Yeah, I could absolutely do that, but I wouldn't go to bed.
Couldn't sleep.
I couldn't sleep properly if I did that.
But then you couldn't turn the knobs here, and then nothing would happen when you do.
And
exactly.
And
and
that's
you're
why
still
he's
doing
the coolest.
that.
Yeah.
You know, you're still.
How crazy would that be? You know, I do it as a DJ, but not for this. I can fake twist knobs where I'm DJing, but not this. Yeah,
love it.
This is custom. I wanted this there so it's easier to lock in together than having to go all the way to the output, which I think is here or something. So I pushed the output over here. It's a little sexier. And then we grab the output from this. So this guy is going to channel 1. This guy is soldered into channel 2. And I get the output of these two in my Nord modular.
Whoa.
And then the output of my Nord modular will output this, and the internal sounds.
Wow.
Yeah, which I use for poly, for chords.
So audio is processing through here.
Yes.
Is that a custom thing?
No.
You can do that on any Nord.
That's why I still lug this thing around. This thing has been...
the Nord modular is like one of the classic red.
But you can process audio through it. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And I could add anything. I leave it pure, but I could add any delay or reverb through this guy, right? So what happens next is somebody has to control these guys. So I'm sending the MIDI out of the G2X into the top.
MIDI interface.
The MIDI interface. I'm sending the MIDI out from the electro on the bottom module, and that allows me to control everything that's happening. The beauty about the G2X is that you have 4 slots, but that also gives you 4 MIDI outs. So you can choose this one, as you can see, will trigger MIDI. And if I change my patch and I'm playing poly stuff, it's not going to trigger it because every slot has a MIDI out that you can assign.
Okay.
That's the beauty about this. So this is not only my audio in, it's also my MIDI out for the modular on top.
Just one button away from dedicating the sound basically to a poly synth, or one
Exactly.
button away to now you're triggering these guys.
Exactly. And that's why I keep this guy around. This is the most versatile synth I've ever had in my life, especially for touring. Yeah.
Because it's acting as a hub too. It's
Yes,
not just
exactly.
a synth,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then it has great sounding poly capability
Also, yeah.
and nice controllers. I
And
guess.
nice controllers, yeah.
And it's probably 4 voices?
Here,
Yeah.
it depends on how you built your patch and what's left in the engine. You could
Gotcha.
go up to, it's infinite.
Oh, wow.
It literally depends on the power that's in the north. I think they had different cards for it, right? Yeah. So I usually go like 6 or 8.
I see we have a drifting oscillator up there.
Yep, we do. So that's the beauty, you know, I can be playing a part and then I realize, whoops, you know, on the bottom, see how on the bottom octave it works? And then you go up and it's slightly off. As I'm playing, I can just adjust
You
this.
see how it's going from red to green right here?
Yeah. And you can see me playing the notes
Green
right
is
now.
good.
This visual indication is really, it's everything.
That's amazing.
There's no show without that. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing shows without this. And it's the same for all of them. This one is a little different. This is the chromed Keylab 61. I'm only using it for MIDI. The sound goes straight because it's only one anyways. I have no inputs to save or anything.
So you're not using any poly ability of the keyboard?
No.
It just controls this mono guy.
Yeah, these two guys are just for the mono, and the outer edges are for poly and MIDI control. So it's basically I'm repeating the same thing 4 times.
Jeez.
Same here. Top, in, the out of this goes in the G2X. And then we got 3 synths coming out of 1 output. So when it's plugged, I go on my patch, and there you go. Again, the beauty of having this ready to go is just,
Quick.
yeah. Give it a little tune. Usually stay on the C3 or C4 to make sure I got good tracking. And there you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
So real quick, you gotta explain to me, is this screaming no or?
Yes, this is a screaming no for Dave. Because he loves the frequency button, but the filter frequency, but these also say frequency.
Yeah.
So in the heat of the moment, he's just like,
Oh, detune.
detune, and then he looks at me like, they're not working. I'm like, you just touched the pitch. So this is a big no, and this is the star for this.
That's the one. Yeah.
This is the wah-wah effect that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has
The most turned knob on any modular.
yeah.
Right.
You
It's
learn
the
the hard way.
the low pass frequency,
Yeah.
That's why on the Moog, that's the biggest knob.
low pass filter frequency control. Yeah, it is the biggest knob, isn't it?
Do we want to get a quick demo of wiping these down?
Yeah.
Well, is that part of it?
Oh yeah.
So polishing the chrome, cleaning the chrome, and then polishing it, right?
Yeah. Well, just the daily, it's just cleaning it. We don't polish it every day. We'll send it back to where it was built, and then they'll polish it once after every tour.
So by polishing it, they take all the residue and stuff off
Yeah.
of it.
Because after
That's a whole
after
other
a tour, it becomes like it's dirty.
Another level of maintenance to have to do that.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing.
The great thing about this MIDI interface is that it will send pressure, pitch, CC number 1. So I can assign the mod wheel to the pitch, which is hardwired. So it's going to the pitch, and then I can use my pitch bend and my mod wheel for these guys. I also have these routed so I can add a pedal. If I put a pedal here, an expression pedal, I can then use it to mod either the pitch or the modulation. So I can break in that circuit at any point.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I could sometimes I like to play a solo and module at the same time, but I need both hands, so I'll put a pedal in and modulate while I'm playing. This is the whole point. And then I can also choose if the pitch is being modulated or the filter.
Whoa.
Is the third one the VCA? Is that tremolo?
No, but that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Pitch, timbre, amplitude.
Yes, I should do that. Yeah. So that's part of, you know, the whole sort of preset-ish nature of all this. Yeah. I try to make the structure as simple as possible from left to right. So my modulation is right there. I can choose. I know it by heart. I know that this is pitch and this is filter. Everything is like right next to each other. And then the beauty of all this is, of course, having the pitch right in front of me. Sometimes it'll go nuts for some reason and I can just adjust as I'm playing.
Right. That's almost a good effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I like is you can get a lot of complex routing in advance, but then you have the spontaneous ability to give yourself those little nuances like a Minimoog.
Yeah.
Where, you know, like in a Minimoog, you just turn a knob and then you're ready to go. So you don't have to like repatch it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But you can preset like really complicated things. So you have the modular flexibility, but the speed of a Minimoog on stage.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. So there we have it.
And these are all malts, right?
Yeah. So
Lots
all
of
the
them.
malts, all the pitch is here, the gate is here.
Oh, these are gates?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I showed on the other side.
Oh, so they're already set for what
Yeah.
they are.
So this one I just patched it to show you what's going where. The pitch is going here.
I see.
The gate is here. And then the CC to mod.
Oh, that's a MIDI one. Okay.
Yeah. So this is kind of what it looks like inside. And if you were to show all the cables, it would be a big mess.
Oh, I bet.
Because these go back and forth between all the different, so this goes back and forth between this, and then this one again, back and forth between all of these. This goes back and forth between the pitch that's here, the octave, the semitone, it goes back to the switch. You know, it's like these are long lines.
So in some ways, having the patch chords would actually take away from its aesthetic appeal.
And its functionality.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be able to access these.
But that's, to me, it's like it's Minimoogness.
Exactly.
And it enables you to just turn a knob and you get modulation.
I built this whole thing to be kind of semi-modular. It's more like an NS20, actually.
Yeah.
It's pre-plugged. Whatever you get when you turn the thing off will give you all the presets and all the settings. And then if you want to freak it a little bit, you can go on top and cut the connections. And
Perfect.
yeah.
And is it the case that 2 of these are for Dave and 2 of these are for you?
Yes.
So these are Dave's.
These are Dave's. He's got no touch sign here. Because
Let's see those.
these are the frequency for oscillators, but the state variable filter is also a frequency.
Right now, it's normal coming out of here.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, how would let's say I want to hear a bandpass right now.
So if I
would
want to
just
hear
go
the
from here
bandpass,
into the VCA?
I would go
do
into
it?
here from the VCA and probably cut this connection with a dummy cable.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a couple dummy cables, just dummy connectors.
Who has a patch cord? I brought my patch cords.
You do?
You have your car open?
I can get it open.
Always got to bring my patch cords. Patch cords.
All right.
Handmade by Rob Rosen.
Yes, nice.
Beautiful patch cords.
So, wait, I hope I'm correct on this.
So that's dummied, so there we go.
And then you would send, let's say you want to do a bandpass. You would send this.
And then we should hear bandpass, right?
This is the top one.
That sounds right.
Doing it. Yeah. We could switch it to high pass.
Yep. It's definitely mixing both the low pass, because the dummy chord shouldn't theoretically do anything on the filter output.
So right now it's mixing both.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because you still hear the low pass in there, right?
You do.
Yeah.
It's giving you like a second layer.
Yeah.
I like it. Like without it, it adds another dimension to the sound.
Exactly.
I keep that in. That's a good one.
And this isn't even everything, Pete. There's still the legs. The legs are still in the show.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. We're not going to set up the legs today, but yes.
And what would be on the legs nowadays?
On the legs, there's nothing much really. It's just my talk box.
Okay.
And
I mean, that's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your whole voice.
Yeah. There's the talk box, and Dave's has the set list.
Oh.
An iPad with a set list.
Perfect.
He can change songs and start and stop. Which is a whole other engineering feat in itself. It's a network running through the whole stage out to playback, and we're sending MIDI patch changes to all of these nodes.
Based on the set list?
Based on the set list.
Okay.
Yeah. And we've got a system from AbleSet that will connect via network to Ableton, the playback.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
every song can be started with a foot trigger or with the iPad. Mm-hmm. You can see what's happening. You can check cues. It's a whole thing.
So what's playing back?
The drums, the tracks, BVs, whatever we can't physically play with just two guys, because he's on lead vocals and guitar.
Can you alter from the set list?
Yeah.
You can reverse
Yeah, that's
order.
the point of AbleSet, is you have the set list in front of you on an iPad, and then you can just switch songs,
and everything
on the
moves,
fly.
everything tracks with it.
Exactly.
Moves.
I'm sorry, this is ignorant, but AbleSet, that's something having to do with Ableton, I take it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it connects via network to Ableton.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all you have to do is literally throw one Ethernet cable from the playback world to the stage, distribute network over everything, sending MIDI patch changes over RTP network for all of these guys, and sending song cues.
Gotcha.
Do you work in Ableton, or do you convert the show?
No,
you convert
Ableton
it
is just for
afterward.
the show.
But somebody has to convert it to Ableton, right? For this,
Yeah,
for the live
yeah, we do that, yeah.
version of your show.
Yeah, we work with a musical director. We give him all the stems. I do the Ableton session, put all our cues, our click, our slates. Yeah.
And would it is able to send light cues as well?
Yes. So we have Ableton also sending light cues on the same network to front of house.
And do you design those cues?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty fun. Wow, you're kind of a mastermind behind this whole.
He's a genius behind everything.
The light cues we have a lighting designer, of course, and we work on the creative with him. Mm-hmm. But the technical part of putting these in Ableton, lining them up, syncing them up, making sure the network is working, that's all, I engineered all that. Yeah. I love playback stuff. I love building playback, so I did the whole thing. Yeah.
That's a really fun part of performing live. I remember back in my band days, I was responsible for all that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
It's fun, yeah.
Making it all, it's like,
Yeah.
making a movie happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But in the studio, you guys are still in Cubase.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we track with Pro Tools. Everything that's vocals, we track with Pro Tools. We do the production, all the demos and the music stuff on Cubase. For tracking vocals, we move to Pro Tools. Once we're in Pro Tools, we send to mix,
So that's your mixing and mastering.
That's for the album. And then when we work on the live show, we take the Pro Tools sessions.
The stems?
Yeah, the stems. We mute everything that we're playing live. and we send that for a live mix. So we have a live mix where we separate drums, background music, and background vocals.
Right. So per venue, that could be adjusted.
Exactly.
Right, for the acoustics.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. You really have it all the way through.
Yeah.
Are you thinking all the way when you're writing a song, all the way through to live, or are you just
Not necessarily.
just trying to write a good song?
Yeah, just trying to write a good song first, and then you see how you adapt it to live. It's all about the show, right? So even though on the song, let's say I'm playing the live bass for the whole song, and I'm not singing or there's no talk box during that song on the album, for the live show, we're gonna switch it up. I'm gonna leave the bass in the tracks and I'm gonna sing lead vocal on the talk box or back Dave up or, you know, do it back and forth with him, call and response type of thing. Because for live shows, you want to see me in front, you want to see me play the talk box, you don't want to see me in a corner playing bass lines, you know what I mean? So we adapt the show visually to what is. We're only two guys on stage. We've got a hell of a backup, but
well, you've adapted your synthesizers to the live show, clearly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you want people to see them.
Yeah.
Because most of the times, like our keyboard rigs of the past, people couldn't see them.
Yeah.
They're just facing us, and they're blocking us.
Exactly.
So you've created a completely inverted situation.
Exactly.
Where you're in front of the synths, but people can actually see them, and they're reflecting you in them.
And they can see themselves too.
Yeah.
Reflecting you in them. It's got like.
No, I mean the audience can see themselves.
Well, you're right. That's another level.
Yeah.
And all the light reflections, you know, like we've got a lot of Sharpies and beams going on stage that will calculate to reflect on the modules a certain way. So there's like the triangle effect of, you know, beams, and we have the guitar beam trick also. All of this is part of the work that we put in visually after the music's done.
How does it affect you? Does it give you a feeling like when you're on stage and you have this setup and you're getting those reflections and you're, you know, noting that you can make a change here and then it's going to affect what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, you know, this
with the playback and then lighting.
It's part of the trip for us. Knowing what people see in front is giving us confidence. It's fulfilling, you know, like, you know, you've built a show that people are watching and they're just like, what the hell is happening? I don't understand this. You know what I mean?
But they feel it.
They feel it, yeah. They don't know where the beams are coming from. They don't know where the sounds are coming from. They just see a lot of stuff happening. And for me, that's extremely satisfying.
And you have it to the level where you can do a show and you can relax and enjoy that feeling too? Because there's so much complicated stuff going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless it's a 20-minute changeover like Coachella.
That's got to be stressful.
Yeah, where I call Rob last minute, my talk box isn't working.
Yeah. I think Rob gets a lot of phone calls when people are on tour.
I think I have 2 missed calls from Mike Dean right now. I'm not kidding.
I think you probably do.
I definitely have at least one.
He has an upcoming show.
On Friday, yeah.
So yeah, that's part of it. The theatrics of giving a live show is so important. From the stage design, from the instruments that we're using, just the fact that we're chroming full-on Nords without many people seeing it, you know, it's a lot for us. It's for the continuity of the setup.
It's dedication.
Yeah, dedication, yeah.
So if you want to see more of these kind of incredible artists doing incredible things, like this is even beyond incredible, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. My team, it means a lot to them, and we want to keep doing more of these videos. So thank you for your attention and for your comments. It's beyond our expectations. So looking for more.